Take 3. Hello, Fairfield. Fairfield 2.0 is what you're watching. Another exciting, dynamic, magnanimous, magnificent, one of those words, episode where we are featuring the lovely Heather Miller, her music, especially from Anchor. And she will be explaining everything about Anchor, leaving out no detail in mere moments. We also have, why don't you introduce your pals here?
Alrighty, I have Sarah Brooks here. She plays bass and is also an acupuncturist and other amazing things. Oh, you have horses too? Amazing. And
do you acupuncture the horses too?
Sometimes, yeah.
Oh my gosh, that was a joke, but not necessarily.
No,
okay, good.
I do.
And Greg plays drums and is a visual artist. And yeah, I'm excited to play with them.
I want to start there, Greg.
Okay.
Greg, visual artist, as in perhaps you've had an exhibition lately that we might have seen in town here in Fairfield?
I did. I had a photography show at Cafe Paradiso for a while.
Nice.
So,
what kinds of photos, just to remind everybody, can you describe the display?
I like portraiture, and I also like taking pictures of like old, rusty things and objects, or deteriorating car seats and things like that. And then I like to overlay those portraits with those images to kind of create an interesting relationship between them.
Cool. So in a way, is it like a relationship between old and new? Is there like a little bit of a statement also going on?
In a sense, yeah.
Yeah. Have you been, in addition to being a drummer, we're going to get to your drumming in a second, but being a visual artist, you got into photography, we're talking about right now. But what about other visual arts?
I love photography, painting, and drawing.
Painting and drawing
and
also.
I've been, my background is in teaching. I was an art teacher at Fairfield Middle School for 4 years.
Oh, wow.
I taught at MSAE for a couple of years, teaching high school photography in middle school right there.
Wow.
So, in 2012, I decided that I wanted to kind of put teaching to the side and invest all of my attention toward my art and music, and even more recently, a greater emphasis on my music.
Nice.
So.
Nice. And what do you have to say about all of this? Sarah?
What do I have to say about old Greg?
Yes.
Where do I start? There's a lot to say. No, I think it's awesome that he's going for his passion and dreams, and I think he's a great artist and a great drummer, so it'll be exciting to see more of what he does. And I think we love playing with him, so I feel lucky to know him.
Aw.
Yeah.
Do you think that having an eye for the visual arts affects the creativity that's coming out in your music?
I think so. I mean, there's parallels between art and music. Think about shading and drawing, for example. There's you have dark and light tones, and in music you have dynamic changes, and so music and drumming itself is an art form, and there's with painting and this greater sensitivity to brush strokes and things. The same translates to drumming as well, and so trying to make things tasteful, but ultimately serving the best needs of the music or the art piece itself. So,
right. Okay. Now, what got you into music?
My father was a drummer, and so when I was 8 years old, I'd sit on his lap and learn how to play the drums by that. And then once I got into 5th grade, and band and school started, I joined band and continued through middle school and high school, and haven't stopped since.
Is there a certain song that you might have identified with way back when?
Well, I mean, when I was in the 5th grade, the very first time I performed live was in the 5th grade talent show to a song by Dire Straits.
Dire Straits? What song would that be?
Walk of Life.
Walk of Life.
Yeah.
Okay, now, when we were doing the load-in, being a technical term for those who are loading in equipment into the studio, whatever, we were listening to Nights in White Satin on your radio. That to me, that represented that you have a cross-section of favorite kinds of music, genres, that you listen to. It isn't just one thing that you hone in on.
I love lots of different types of music. I mean, everything from rock, classic rock, funk, blues, jazz, folk. I'm getting to play with Heather's a really nice experience being able to just being exposed to kind of singer-songwriter and folk music. So it's been really nice.
Nice.
Like a folk hip hop kind of a vibe.
Yeah. You know.
Folk hip hop. Are we going to hear a little folk hip hop later on today?
Maybe on the next show. We're working on some stuff.
Sarah's going to do a little rapping for you later.
Dancing and rapping.
Right.
And
Dancing and rapping. Both dancing and rapping. Country and Western. Both kinds
That's
of music.
me. Country and Western. That's me. Exactly.
What the audience doesn't know is we're all giddy and this is like the third time we're recording the show because we've had some technical difficulties. So we had a little help from a little bit of a rehearsal. But what we did from the other two takes is we were talking about all of the things that are on this table. And let me take a non-commercial break at this moment and introduce what's going on here.
An informative break.
It's sort of like those people are going, what is on the table?
They just think we like chips and guac. And
It's sort of like we're being nice to the guests. Chips and guac. Oh, we are. This is compliments of the gardens. The gardens, the gardens being our new lunch place. Right on the corner where the beauty shop is. It actually shares the space with the beauty shop. It's going to be a beautiful thing. They serve seasonal foods there. It's going to be mainly a lunch thing. But you may want to check it out. Nick Naoti was on a previous show talking about it. So, again, here are some treats from the gardens. And also he dropped by something we should be aware of, which is Friday, March 29th. Now we're into the public service announcement part of the show, where we have Mr. Nasty, Runaway, The River Monks, Dub Nub, no, not Dub Nub, and Cassie Forward, who are going to be playing at the Beauty Shop, 8 p.m., March 29th, and that is $5. You better bring some money, is all we got to say. And they'll be serving some treats and all sorts of things. So check it out if you have some time, Friday, March 29th. Okay, that's the end of that. Oh, no, wait, we have one more thing. I'm sorry. Bobby Darin. For those of you who've seen me on YouTube singing Bobby Darin songs, this might explain a lot. I just ordered this on Amazon, and it showed up today, and I had to bring it on the show. This is one of my favorite things ever. Okay, we're done with that. Bye, Bobby.
Moving on.
Moving on.
Moving right along.
Okay, now we've cleaned the table with the exception of Heather Miller, anchor. Explain yourself and contain yourself. No, don't
Oh my gosh. Yeah, this is my debut EP. The artwork is by Alicia Caritas, who is a local artist. I don't know if you've had her on, but she's great. The whale goes all the way across to the back. Excited about that. But yeah, this has been a long time dream. I went down to Austin, Texas for a year to work on it. And I'm back. It's done. Finally. It's a big thing to go down and it kind of is this amorphous idea and then to end up with something you can hold in your hand is pretty rewarding. So
yeah, and very fulfilling, right?
Yeah.
And this color matches your blouse today. Look at this. Oh, wait a minute.
It wasn't
what a coincidence.
No, this CD art has kind of defined a lot of my fashion choices for the past several months, actually.
Okay, fine.
I've been collecting a lot of turquoise.
Oh, very cool. Also, I want to, you're going to be performing, everybody should be hanging out for a while longer after we have the interview segment done. We'll also have a Skype interview, but after the Skype interview, we will have, or before, actually, we may do that before. Let's hook it up to the interview segment. We will have Heather and gang play songs from this album, and rumor has it, a new song, maybe? So hang in there after this interview segment, okay? Sarah, what do you have to say about all this?
I'm so flattered. You asked. Again. I'm just very grateful to be back friends with Heather. We went to high school and middle school and lower school together.
Girl Scouts
together. Yeah. So we've known each other for a long time, and it's been really, really cool getting to play music with her. And I'm a big advocate of Heather because I really like her lyrics and I really like her music and I really enjoy playing the songs. And So I think it is just sort of getting going as in terms of us playing as a band. I mean, Heather's been playing and writing for years and years now, so it's kind of a new thing to be playing with the band, and so
nice.
Yeah,
and it helps when you've known the people you play with and are close to them. There's a trust in all of that, where the creativity just sort of. Yeah. You kind of trust what everybody's doing, because they're hearing it from a different perspective. What happens? Let's ask that question. What is your creative process when you're writing a song? I know we've done this before. We had you on another show and we went into this a little bit, but let's refresh everybody. What is your creative process?
For me personally, I tend to go lyrics first. I'll be walking or doing something or feeling something, and I'll usually get a snippet, and then develop from that, and then go back to it. Sometimes it's once I've got a verse, sometimes it's the whole thing. But usually somewhere in the middle that I pick up the guitar and start to find the chords that go behind it. And I've been taking a lot of songwriting classes for a few years now. I did the Berklee online songwriting course, and I've done song school and lots of online things and workshops and stuff like that. So.
And Austin,
and Austin too.
Experience.
Yeah, exactly.
And the open mics.
Mm-hmm.
That's a legacy of open mics.
Now you've been playing like forever. I mean, you really have been doing this for a long time.
I started in 2001, like right at the end of my college years, and I was really into it. And then I started working and kind of dropped it off a little bit, but it kept coming back. And when it gets to that thing, it's like, it's not going to go away. It's not going to just be like this thing. It's like, all right, maybe I should actually listen to it. And that strong desire is really what sent me to Austin, because I felt like I wanted to take some time to really dive in and just focus completely on the music. And so I found a great mentor. It's actually sort of this connection of, I was doing the Lyrical Venus radio show on Crew, met a girl who was in Austin through, that show. And so we became blog friends, and she was doing this work with Daniel Barrett, and then I was like, that's what I need to do. And then he came up with this actual just year-long program. I'm like, okay, that's something defined that I know I can do it, and then come back to Fairfield in my life here.
Oh, nice.
So he's amazing. He's very intuitive, but he's also he'll push you at just the right amount, to actually get things done, but not too far that you break.
Yes.
And so we spent a year together, and he encouraged me to go out and get more performance experience. Mm-hmm. So he said, go out and do open mics. And I really took to it. I did 157 in my year there.
Oh, wow.
And my first 3 or something, I thought I was going to die or throw up or be booed off the stage or something, but none of that really happened. So I kept going, and it just became really, really great. It changed everything for me.
You know what's amazing about that? You talked about how the first 3 times you felt like, oh my gosh, how are they going to react? Now we've watched it over here at the open mics over at Cafe P, especially, where people will get up, and there are some people who are just more talented than other people who are getting up there, or maybe better prepared. Maybe that's a better way of saying that. Yeah. And have more experience. And it's amazing that I always feel nice. I get a good feeling from seeing the people who are in the audience react nicely to whoever's on stage. Mostly, a lot of times, it's of course out of politeness, and it's a lot of friends that are coming to see, some of those acts. But some of the acts are, they really are beginner acts, and they're jumping on a stage for the first time. And almost what better place to start than someplace like Fairfield to do something like that, because it's so warm, it's so supportive. You guys are so warm and so supportive. It's just really, it is sweet to see that. But it's also sweet to see and to know that we have also a level of musicianship in this town, a caliber of musician that is competitive with the rest of the world. You have John Estrins, you have Ed Raines, you have Johnny Cohen, you have Eric Hurlin, David Hurlin, Gemma Cohen, who's about to get signed to Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
You have all sorts of folks that it sort of proves it's almost like, oh, and you have Surgery, who has to change their name, by the way, but we won't get into that. But we have all sorts of groups, Trouble Lights, and then here we go with the discussion. I have to bring in the Rabelais and all that.
Eli Lee.
And Eli Lieb, and it's just an amazing. It's an assortment of chocolates that we have here that are just they're very tasty, and we've got to. Somebody is bound to break of this group, and it'll be fun to see who does carry the flag, because we do have a lot of Iowa band flag carrying between Trouble Lights and Mumfords and some of the stuff that Dominic is doing. But it is a very exciting thing to see what's going on in this town. And Heather, you are one of the most appreciated singer-songwriters here. Sarah, what do you think of all that?
I like this role. Once again, I just really support Heather, and I think the music scene in Fairfield, I think, is not so much to me about who's going to break. It's more about people being interested and really passionate about what they're doing, like someone like Dom, for instance, or my brother Simon, who's in Minneapolis, like people who are just really, and Heather, just really like, and Greg, and just going for what you really want to do and your passion, and not giving up or sacrificing that heart value of it. And that's what I really appreciate about Fairfield, and I think that's what the fans respond to in town too, is just like it's very sincere with this whole crew of musicians in town, and the level of talent or whatever isn't really as relevant as to me or as important as like the heart value. And people are talented too, but they're going for their dreams and they're being really awesome, and I think that's what I really appreciate anyway. So.
All right, speaking of going for their dreams and being really awesome, it's your turn. Tell us about you. In addition to being a fabulous bassist, you are also an acupuncturist.
Yeah.
Which would you like to talk about first?
Well, I can just say about acupuncture, I mean, that's really what we call in Fairfield dharma. Like, that's a dharmic job for me, which means I've really gone for my dreams and my passion for healing. And I just really fell into that sort of about 10 years ago and started getting acupuncture. I was actually pre-med studying for medical school, and I started getting acupuncture, and it completely changed my life. So I got really, really excited about going to acupuncture school, and I haven't even looked back since. And then I moved back to Fairfield from Colorado, where I was in school, and have a practice, and I just have been really working hard at the last 5 years, building up my own business. So that's kind of like what I do all day, every day. And then at night, I like to play bass.
By day.
It is.
Bassist by night.
And at night, and I'm kind of like Heather, like in a way, like I've always had, well, when I came back from acupuncture school, my little brother was here. He's a really good guitarist, a musician. And so he was still living here at the time before he went away to school. And he kind of was like, we were hanging out a lot and like, let's do something together. So he's like, you should just learn bass. Because I've tried to learn guitar before, and I just couldn't get guitar. Like, it wasn't my thing. Now, bass, I just picked up and I was like, oh, I get this. So I was like, this is like about 5 years ago. And so I just kind of kept taking lessons and playing with Simon. And I've actually, Simon and Dom and Phil Rabelais, we all had like a siblings band for a while. Oh. And since then, everybody's kind of gone off. And like now, I feel really lucky because I was really wanting to play with, I don't know, I was kind of wanting an all-girl band, and I got that. So, no, it's a different shift. Like, it's really a different vibe for me. I played with Jimmy Dalton and Rob Hibbs a bit, too. We had a band called X-Ray Mary.
Okay.
So, I don't know. It's just, this is such a different type of music that I'm playing now. And Heather even said to me the first time she invited me to play, she's like, I didn't know that you'd want to play with my kind of music. Because, like, you're always like...
the rockin' boys,
But I'm really, I love it, so.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if the camera's picking up those sneakers. Can we show everybody those sneakers, please?
Where do I...
There we go.
There you go.
Still some rock and roll.
Awesome.
to that point. All right, I think we're running out of time, but have we left out anything, Heather, that we need to cover?
No,
I want everybody to know everything about you before we leave.
I'm just so excited and happy to have people to play with. You know, adds a whole different energy and feel, and I'm really excited and proud of the album.
Nice.
And excited to share it. Yeah.
You mean this album here, Anchor?
Anchor.
By Heather Miller?
And I guess that is one quick thing, is just that the reason why it's called Anchor is because the whole point of my Austin trip was to go and anchor myself in my music and my creative process and everything. And it worked.
I was just saying, he's a good interviewer, this guy. Sarah, what do you think of his interviewing skills?
Exactly. I think he's taking after you.
The student becomes the master.
Yeah, exactly.
After 3 takes, I've learned that.
HeatherMillerMusic.com is my main hub, and Heather Miller Music kind of all over the place. There is another Heather Miller out there.
No.
Yes. She is
We're going to have to do something about this now.
So you may find a couple other albums or things that are Heather Miller that's not me. She's great, but not the same person. So.
All right, and if somebody wants to contact you for acupuncture, do you have a website or a...
Thanks. Yeah, I do actually. It's called Iowa5element.com. So Iowa5element.com. The type of acupuncture I do is called 5-element acupuncture.
Would it be spelled out, or is it the number 5?
It's all spelled out.
Okay.
Yeah.
You, sir, if somebody wants to look into your photography, what do they do?
I have a website. It's greghollandart.com. And also have my music page is greg-holland.com.
Cool.
So, yeah.
All right. And the future? What does the future hold for this crew?
Who knows? We really are just getting started, but we have had a couple fun times where we started playing with just messing around, and so we've talked about maybe writing together, or we don't know, but it's exciting.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right.
I think more people need to hear this music.
You hear that?
I think more people need to hear this music. So maybe we'll try to get around town a little bit more and get around the towns a little bit more.
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah, that'd be super fun.
That's always a good plan.
Mm-hmm.
My first advice to anybody who is sort of Fairfield centric is, with all due respect, Fairfield, get out of town. In addition to playing Fairfield,
and then come back.
Get the radar. That's right. Get that radar screen a little bigger and start
Yeah.
playing everywhere you possibly can. Seriously, this is a really important thing.
You can play in space now.
What's that?
You can play in space now. There was the guy on the space station was playing.
That's right.
With people on the ground. It was really cool.
So the goal is to get the Heather Miller Anchor material
In space.
played in space.
So we're going to space next.
Yeah.
Or the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah.
From the ocean
Submarine.
We could do like a under the sea concert.
Yeah.
we're looking forward to that one. All right. Another exciting episode of Fairfield 2.0 isn't concluding yet. We have to hang in there because Heather and the gang are going to be performing a whole bunch of songs. So please hang in there, and also we'll have a Skype interview. Who knows who the Skype guest will be today? I appreciate everybody for coming here. This was a lot of fun. And Heather, please, would you reintroduce the band?
Yes, Sarah Brooks on bass, Greg Holland on drums, I'm Heather Miller. We're excited.
And also, we haven't done this in a long time, and we absolutely have to pay homage to the great, to the master. Speaking of masters and the students and the master here, Jason Strong behind the camera and behind the audio board. Thank you very, very much for all of your love and talents. So hang in there, Fairfield, and come on by and have a little what we've got here. Okay, from the gardens. Yeah, everybody dive in here. Diane Arkenstone, welcome to Fairfield 2.0.
Hi, Mike. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Great. You have a new album, Union Road. Now, I think I did this to Molly Ringwald, so I'm going to do it to you, too. I'm going to say, tell us everything you can about this record. Go.
Okay. Union Road is the first album I have out that I don't have to take a huge ensemble of musicians. Mm. I can play just with guitar or piano or an instrument myself. And it's a little bit more Americana and stories that have been in my heart and experiences that I wanted to share with the world.
Nice. And now, can you go over some of the material on this, for instance? And if you have a couple of backstories on these songs, that'd be beautiful.
Oh, I have quite a few backstories on the song. Actually, every song has a backstory.
Beautiful. Can we start with maybe the album title song, the title track, Union Road?
Sure. Union Road is named after a place I used to live, close to where I grew up, and it's on a ranch, and we had longhorn cattle and horses and things like that, and it was some of the happiest years of my life were spent there on this ranch on Union Road, and that's how the name came about.
Nice. Now, this was also, it seems like this also has you said Americana before, and
Yes.
you're credited mostly with being, I guess, well, you've had success with the New Age charts.
Yes, yes. Well, they call it New Age, but it's been cinematic music, world music, instrumental, and so on. And I never had a voice in it. Maybe musically I had a voice, but never a voice of actually singing, speaking, telling a story.
Yeah.
The music was instrumental then, and it left it to your imagination. But here, I tell the actual story about what the song is on these songs, because I sing every song, except for the song Union Road. That's the only instrumental.
Right, I noticed that. Let's go into a couple of the other songs that are maybe more personal to you.
Okay.
Oh, go ahead. I'll back off. I should let you just talk.
Oh, well, sure. Well, the first song starts off is called Little Cup of Coffee, and that is a tribute to a Starbucks. Just some great times I had at a Starbucks in Studio City with a lot of friends, actors, artists, writers, producers, so on. And that's where the title of that song came from. Mm. And the thing that was so great about that Starbucks is it had such a huge array of people from different parts of the world.
Right.
And I absolutely adored it. And so that's how I wrote that song. Wow. And then the next song on the album is called When I Fall. And that was written, I guess, when you have, everything just doesn't seem to go right in your life. And that's what that was about, just kind of hanging on to the edge of the world is one of the lines in the song. And that's exactly how I felt at the time when I wrote the song. Of course, that's certainly far behind me now.
Right.
And then there's another song on it called Lost in You, which is about being crazy obsessed in love. Absolute beautiful time with the endorphins and so on.
Let me ask you about, this is a little bit of a personal question, but it's also part of your history. You were you made a few records with your ex-husband David Arkenstone.
Yes, and we're still very dear friends.
Nice, very sweet. I noticed you've done a lot of Celtic albums too, or not a lot, but you've tended to go towards the Celtic sound in the past.
Well, actually, yes, I really did do quite a few. We did about at least 12 of them on another label, and that was with a girl named Melanie, and I turned my name around to Enaid, which is the name Diane backwards, but it also happened to mean soul and life in Old Celtic Irish. Mm. So I used that name, and Melanie changed her name backwards too, which came out to Inoem. But anyway, we did about 12 or 13 albums together on another label, and had quite a lot of success. I think the first album sold 500,000 copies.
Wow.
First one that we did.
Wow. What is your what is your creative process?
Oh gosh, absolutely everything. I play quite a few different instruments, and I sing, and I have Pro Tools, and I do a lot of the engineering myself as well. But when I feel, it's like something inside, right in the center of my chest. It feels like there's something stirring in there, and I know there's a song coming out. Mm. And then when I pick up an instrument, I also find that quite inspirational. If I pick up a dulcimer or mandolin or guitar or play piano, each instrument is its own palette,
Right.
and something incredible always comes out.
Wow. Do you feel sometimes that you're being chased by a song?
Sure, of course. Absolutely. Same with poetry or writing a story or an idea or something. Sure. I don't know if I'm actually being chased, but it's a feeling inside. It's an energy. It's all an energy.
Yeah. What do you think about now? I said that facetiously, but on the other hand, do you feel you do these other creative arts too? You write prose, I guess, or what other creative outlets do you have in addition to music? We'll have it from your mouth, not mine.
Oh, okay. Well, I love writing stories and so on. And when I was in school, I was always the most elaborate and best writer in school and so on. And I've written quite a few stories. Nothing's been out and published yet, though I have a friend who is a writer-producer from Los Angeles, and we've taken these stories and we're putting them together. We'll just see what happens with them.
Nice. I had to throw out there something interesting, which is, and most people may not know this, but let's bring it to their attention right now. But you've been on like over 45 albums.
Yes, I have.
How does that feel? I mean, like you've added, you have a lot of creativity out there. We'll say it like that.
Yeah, well, you know, Mike, it's pretty fun. I absolutely love writing music, of course, and I have my own record company, Neo Pacifica Recordings, and I have about 25 albums on Neo Pacifica. The rest have been on other labels.
Mm-hmm. Are you constantly writing?
Yes.
Huh.
Yes, absolutely. I have a studio here in the house, and when you walk in, it pretty much looks like a music store. All sorts of crazy, bizarre, amazing instruments from around the world in there.
Well,
I love it. I'm obsessed with it.
well, you're beyond being chased by creativity. You're being it's actually stalking you.
Well, or I am the creativity.
Ooh, there you go.
Yeah.
What separates? Let's get back to the album. By the way, we're talking with Diane Arkenstone. Diane, what separates Union Road from any other album that you've done before? Beyond, you mentioned it's being more Americana and all that, but are there any other signposts on this album that are obvious, beyond your other albums?
Well, I think that each album I do, I feel is very unique and original and different from the other one. And so I have that same feeling with Union Road as well. This one certainly has a huge variety of different songs in it, different emotions, different experiences. For instance, Your Mama Is Gone is about adultery. And I've never written about that before in any other albums that I've done. And Corner of Nowhere is a very interesting song about just in the middle of nowhere, but for me it's symbolic of reincarnation, if you believe that. Just before being born, you're sort of in the middle of nowhere. And so the songs all have very, very different stories. And I think that's how it stands out from the past albums.
Yeah.
I like to touch the Americana in it, because I love acoustic instruments such as dulcimer and mandolin and so on.
Would you say that possibly this is your most personal album?
I would say so. I did another one called Stories that had a lot of very personal songs in it, but I would say this one certainly would be the most personal album, yes.
Right. Okay. I have a traditional question that I ask everybody, and now it's your turn, Diane Arkenstone. And that is, what advice do you have for new artists?
I would say just follow your heart. Absolutely follow your heart. I remember when I was young, my parents absolutely had no interest in me being a musician, and I had to take all these classes in school and college and so on, and my heart just wasn't in it, except for the music classes I took. in college. And kind of became the black sheep of the family, but I followed my heart. I just stuck with it, and it paid off.
Nice.
It paid off certainly in dividends of the happiness that I feel inside, for sure. Right. And that's what true success is.
And that's kind of your advice for new artists. Is to
follow your heart. Very simply, follow your heart. There's no one like you, and just be you.
Nice. What are your thoughts when you're looking at what's going on in music these days? I mean, you can't help but, even if you wanted to, you can't help but get away from what's going on, in the pop scene or whatever. And for instance, it ranges from Adele to, well, you name it, actually. What are your thoughts about what's going on right now in pop? I'm not necessarily looking for any kind of a judgment. I'm just some thoughts about it.
I totally love it. Each generation that's born into this planet has its own energy and expression, and that's how the music comes out. It's that energy, that expression from each of those generations of artists that are emerging now, and I think it's absolutely beautiful. I totally love it.
Nice. Beautiful. Nicely said. All right. Are you going to be on tour in support of this record?
Well, I'm not going to do a big tour, but I am making appearances here and there, certainly. I have a lot of projects that I'm doing, so I'm in the studio quite a bit, so it's a little difficult to get away.
Yeah, I'm imagining there are like 2 or 3 albums that still haven't come out yet.
Yeah, 200 or 300 just about. Plus I'm doing other projects as well. So that keeps me in the studio, and it's such a huge blessing. I now have this amazing engineer, so I don't have to angst over Pro Tools and everything all the time. I get to be the artist, which is so lovely.
Ooh, nice. And by the way, who joined you on this album as far as the instruments?
Oh, gosh, some pretty great musicians. Well, first of all, Medea, who is a film composer, produced the album with me, and he did a couple of films for Ang Lee that he composed music for, and Medea played guitar as well, and some mandolin and keyboards. He's quite good at that. And then Chad Watson on bass, and Eric Rigler, who played all the uilleann pipes and so on in Titanic. Eric played on this. He played penny whistle, actually, on Little Cup of Coffee. And M.B. Gordy, who does a lot of session work and film work, did all sorts of incredible percussion on this, especially on Crossing the Water. We had very interesting things like a devil chaser and weird effects that M.B. played, and big taiko drums. We went to a studio in Los Angeles. And Bruce Watson on guitar, who's played with Christina Aguilera. A lot of fine musicians.
Nice. Well, Diane Arkenstone. We've been talking with Diane Arkenstone, and I guess we should wrap it up here because I feel guilty. I feel like we're stopping you from creating 2 or 3 more songs right now.
Oh, Mike, it's a joy to speak with you. I'm really enjoying this. Thank you.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you very much for your time, and all the best with Union Road, your new album. And if we see you in the area, we've got to come see you.
Absolutely. I'll keep you posted.
All right. Thanks again for all your time, and all the best, Diane.
Mike, thank you.
All right.
Hi, I'm Heather Miller. This is Greg Holland and Sarah Brooks, and we're going to play you the songs from my new EP, Anchor. This one's called Keep Telling Me. Keep telling me about the lonely. Keep telling me about the scared. Keep telling if a spark could be ignited, you could stare down one small fear. Would you tell me one good thing? Just one good thing. Come on, there's one good thing about today. This song is called Shoreline of Alaska. He's still snoring as I shuffle to the kitchen. Tie my robe, put the kettle on the stove. I light a cigarette. This is the only chance I'll get. Look out the window as I wait to hear the boil. The only thing to see across the way is a green hedge. I knock the ashes off against the window ledge. And if I had a dream I can't remember, you ask me how I am, I'll say I'm fine. I'll tell you about the tulips or the roses or the weather tonight. I'll pour another glass of wine. He always promised we would travel when all the kids had all grown up and gone. But he worked himself to death, and there's not much of him left. Still somehow through the years he's clinging on. I know that it's my duty to stay here by his side. For better or for worse is what I promised as his bride. And if I had a dream I can't remember, if you ask me how I am, I'll say I'm fine. I'll tell you about the tulips or the roses or the weather tonight. I'll pour another glass of wine. The shoreline of Alaska is calling out my name. A lullaby is whispering from the rails beneath the train. And the drumbeat of old Ireland is pounding in my veins. It's all a lie, it's all a lie when I say that if I had a dream I can't remember. If you ask me how I am, I'll say I'm fine. I'll tell you about the tulips or the roses or the weather tonight. Yeah, tonight. Oh, tonight. I'll pour another glass of wine. This one's called Rain Song. Something to sing when it's been dry. So this is the title track, Anchor. Throw my anchor down, gonna hold my head up high, gonna claim this brave new world. In the name of you and I, gonna throw my anchor down, gonna hold my head up high, gonna claim this brave new world. In the name of you and I, I'm leaving behind everything I know to follow the calling deep within my soul. Don't know what awaits me on the distant shore, but that sweet siren song I can no more ignore. Dreams I have aplenty, possessions I have few. My compass has been broken, but my heart is true. If I can make my way, if I can soldier on, the life that I once knew will be dead and gone, and that golden prize will at last be won. So I'm gonna throw my anchor down, gonna hold my head up high, gonna claim this brave new world. In the name of you and I, gonna throw my anchor down, gonna hold my head up high, gonna claim this brave new world. In the name of you and I. Gonna throw my anchor down, gonna hold my head up high. Throw it down now, throw it down, throw it down. Gonna throw my anchor down, gonna hold my head up high, gonna claim this brave new world. In the name of you and I, gonna throw my anchor down, gonna hold my head up high, gonna claim this brave new world. In the name of you and I. This is one of my newer ones. It's called I Know. There's a street light out my window. It looks just like the moon. A wolf in my chest howls cross country to you. Way out across the ocean, a city burns all night. Feel like I understand it, but I don't know quite why. And home is where the heart is. What happens when it splits in two? I know I need to be here now, and I know that I love you. Way out here in Texas, the creeks have all run dry. Maybe I'm trying to fill them with all these tears I cry. Last night I got to see you, it made me miss you more. Reminded me of all the days I hadn't seen you since before. Home is where the heart is. What happens when it splits in two? I know I need to be here now, and I know that I love you. Well, somewhere back in Iowa, the leaves are turning red. I'm still trying to make peace with all the things they never said. But I'm learning to be honest, I'm learning to be strong. And if home is where the heart is, what happens when it splits in two?